SouthDakotaStateWrestlingNews.com. Now, here's Brian Oakland.
Hey, thank you very much, and welcome to continued coverage of the South Dakota State Wrestling Tournament. Brian Oakland here. We'll be joined by coaches Ryan Noyes and John Wayne Calda as the Pierre Governors vie for the state dual team championship. And we mentioned a little bit ago they would start at 106. That's not correct. They're going to start at 145 pounds. We'll give you the starting lineups a little bit, but we didn't have time to really get a good pregame show put together. Pregames in KGFX broadcast, though, brought to you by the Becky Pottsapa State Farm Insurance Agency in Pierre. Again, Brian Oakland, as we are underway with Tyson Johnson on the mat against Brian Rosales of Rapid City Stevens, and we'll assume some of these matchups in some cases, but Tyson Johnson into the finals in the individual bracket, and Brian Rosales was beaten out, but Tyson's got the first takedown. Yeah, we're underway. Opening match of the night, also brought to you by Lynn's Dakota Mart stores in Pierre and Fort Pierre. Let's ask the coaches real quickly as Tyson Johnson works on top of Rosales. What a day it's been. I mean, a lot of ups, a little bit of downs for the Pierre Governors and for some of our area wrestlers, but just a lot of good action. And what else is new? It's the state wrestling tournament, huh?
Yeah, I think last night we talked about us, coming off a pretty big high, beating Brandon Valley, and thought we were going to have a pretty good day today, and I don't think it really disappointed. Obviously they got some lows that obviously come with the state tournament, but putting the number of guys in the finals, and I think 9 guys placing for the day. I mean, it's couldn't ask much better.
Not a bad day, but still, you kind of leave that taste in your mouth. You kind of want more, Coach Noyes, right?
Well, you do, but that gives you something to. I mean, next year's season starts tomorrow, tomorrow night.
Sunday,
anyway. Yeah, Sunday. So, yeah, it gives you something to work for, and it does. It makes you hungry for the next year.
All right, so Tyson Johnson's got a 2-0 lead. We've got 30 seconds to go. First period, again, just underway. Brian Oakland here with play-by-play. Doing what we enjoy doing, bringing and putting high school wrestling on the air. And not a lot of people do that, but we certainly enjoy it. Hope you do, too. Glad to have you here on this Friday night. Got a caution quick start here for Tyson Johnson on a reset after going out of bounds with 30 seconds left. We have also live audio stream running through the KGFX page of drgnews.com, audio only, as South Dakota Public Broadcasting has these matches as well on the video rights to that. Again, we had a couple of matches in Class B we did not get updated on, but I'm looking on the big board here in the ice arena at the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center. Achilles Willowite of Winter area is wrestling Zach Richardson of Canton, has a 3-1 lead on that. We can update on that later on. Winter area going to be wrestling Canton in the state dual championship in Class B otherwise, and also Kimball White Lake Platte Geddes will go against Redfield area for third place here. Harrisburg and Brandon Valley wrestling for third place as well, and they're also starting at 145. First period done in the Tyson Johnson match. Brian Rosales will start on top. Johnson will take to the down position. It's Johnson on top, 2-0. And guys, Tyson Johnson had 1 goal coming to the state tournament and making the state championship match. He's got Gabe Skustad 1 against 2, and they had a kind of an instant classic in the Region 3A championship, but Tyson's got a pretty big day going. He'd like to finish this big day and work into a big one tomorrow.
Those two are almost identical wrestlers, and that's why they ended up going into overtime in the region finals. Both very quality kids. They each have a lot of respect for one another, and tomorrow is just going to be dynamite.
State championship matches individual coming up tomorrow night. I think coverage will start at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. We'll have coverage on those on KGFX as well. But Johnson here in the down position against Rosales, not really able to get a whole heck of a lot done. It'll be interesting here. Matchups, Rapid City Stevens from 145. They start with Brian Rosales. They'll go to Riley Benson at 152, Tyler Voorhees at 60, Tanner Van Scoy 170, Jaden Alexander at 182, Ryan Brink at 195, Eli Hewitt at 220, and Colton Lowen at 285. Then rolling it over with Evan Ekholm, Jack Schoenhardt, Logan Graff undefeated, Caleb Richter, Jacob McCormick, and Quarter Doney at 138. Doney will match up against Hayden Schaefer of Pierre in the final match of the night. And we'll see if people, if coaches I don't know. Do we expect coaches to be jockeying their lineups here as Johnson's working his way? Now he's got a reversal here. Took him a while, but with 33 seconds to go, second period after starting in the down, he's got the top position here in a 4-0 lead. But Coach Noyes, what would you do? Fudge the lineup a little bit or just go with what gets you here?
For me, I don't mess with the lineup much. I can about guarantee you Coach Lewis will. He's got some good options in there that he can plug in and maybe sneak out a couple extra wins. But it's going to be interesting because right in that middle of the lineup, that's where we can kind of do our damage with some of our extra kids, and we'll see what we do here.
Yeah, and Rapid City Stevens, I mean, it's all about the matchups you can create, and coaches have a real good idea of what their chances are in each match. And we talked about it last night. You basically just have to take it as much of advantage of the matches that you're more favored in
right.
when given the opportunity.
Right, and these guys have seen each other so much this year that they kind of know, where they can sneak out a win and where they maybe need to adjust from the last time they wrestled.
I think the other thing you start looking at is, the highs and lows of the individual tournament and how they're also going to play in the matches tonight as well. Again, you got guys that are winning the semis, and they've kind of reached that so-called pinnacle for the day, and, how are they going to come back in this dual atmosphere? And you got guys that maybe have, not reached their goals and didn't place today. And so hopefully, again, we can kind of, get themselves back up and back to that mindset where they need to be.
Well, you've got a guy on a high in Tyson Johnson who made the finals in a semifinal win, and a guy in Brian Rosales who did not win his semifinal match. So he's a little bit on a down, but he'd certainly like to get his Raider squad off to a pretty good start. He's wrestling pretty well defensively and keeping this one in a decision margin, but Tyson Johnson has a 4-0 lead. 1:05 to go, third period. Again in KGFX broadcasts, Becky Potts of State Farm sponsors pregame shows, which we had to preempt. We just had to get right into wrestling here right at 7 o'clock Central Time. But we'll also hear from the South Dakota Office of the Attorney General and Consumer Protection Division, who sponsors game officials, the law on the mat. Got a number of officials who are doing state tournament matches here in both arenas, and we appreciate their efforts all the time. Johnson's got Rosales rolled over for about 3 seconds here. Rosales comes right back face down, but that's good for 2 more points for Tyson Johnson, and he'd love to do that at least one more time in short time. 20 seconds to go. Johnson working up high. Pulls Rosales off of the ground. Now a caution for stalling for Rosales as he's trying to just outlast. Johnson will roll him over one time. 5 seconds to go. That didn't work, and that's where it's going to finish. But a 6-0 win for Tyson Johnson over Brian Rosales. So we'll take a quick 30-second break. Go to 152 next as the Governors lead 3-0 on KGFX.
If you'd like to earn up to a 30% discount on your auto insurance, then here's your chance. Pottsville State Farm has an updated version of the Drive Safe and Save app, and drivers everywhere are enjoying the rewards. Millions are now saying it, don't mess with my discount, and you will too. Just download the Drive Safe and Save app from State Farm to get started, or call Pottsville State Farm agent's office and they'll be happy to sign you up. Call 224-4173, Pottsville State Farm Insurance, and learn more today.
Becky Potts of State Farm sponsoring pregame shows on KGFX and stations of DRG Media Group. Welcome back to Rapid City. We're up to 152 pounds. Again, Tyson Johnson with a 3-0 victory, or rather a 6-0 victory over Brian Rosales of Rapid City Stevens. Now, Trey Lewis, as we talk about jockeying lineups, Coach Sean Lewis has plugged in Trey to wrestle against Riley Benson of Rapid City Stevens here at 152 pounds. Benson won his semifinal match a little while ago. Trey Lewis not wrestling in the individual tournament, but came up with a big win in the dual victory in the quarterfinals over Mitchell last night. Benson got an early takedown with wrestlers going out of bounds, 1:24 to go here in the first period, and they will reset with Trey Lewis down on all fours. We'll probably expect Deegan Huska moving up to 160, Jaden Wiebe to 170, as they did against Mitchell last night as well. That came up into a real good situation for the Govs. We'll see how this one plays out as well. Riley Benson 2 seed in that individual bracket. This one going to be a tough matchup for the Governors, though.
Yeah, Benson's looking at only 2 losses on the year, and he will be in the finals tomorrow night. So definitely a tall task for Trey Lewis tonight. And I think part of it, too, is just, we talked a little bit about the importance of bonus points, not giving them, but also getting them. And so I assume Trey's job tonight is to not give up bonus points.
Right. He got rolled over briefly. 2 back points for Riley Benson. He's opened up a 4-0 lead now as Trey Lewis trying to squirt his way out of bounds up in the upper left of our circle, and he gets free.
152-pound match.
Interesting there, he gets free, but is there what we were talking about last night, separation?
There's in my mind, there's clearly separation.
I'm beginning to
face, and I don't know what's going on here with some of the.
I'm beginning to think I don't understand scoring anymore.
Officials are talking about that. Lewis broke free, and Rosales just kind of let him be. So, all right, they do correct that. And I'm starting to think maybe I'm starting to understand scoring a little bit better. But 4-1, a 1-point escape for Trey Lewis. Not Rosales, but Benson going right back to work. And Rapid City Stevens has another takedown here. 10 seconds to go, period number 1. And Riley Benson just working methodically here so far in the first 2 minutes, which comes to an end now. And who gets the choice? Pierre does. They'll defer. And it looks like Benson will choose neutral. So they'll stay on their feet. He's already got 2 takedowns plus 2 back points in that first period. Here he comes. Good shot, but Lewis jumps over the top of that, although backpedaling a little bit. Staying in the middle. Tying up arm in arm. Pretty good defensive move so far by Trey Lewis to keep from getting taken down, but he can't hold him off. And here's another takedown to make it 8-1. I think if you're the Governors now, you realize certainly you're not going to win the team title in the bracket, and that kind of puts a little more emphasis, in my opinion, on this dual championship. If you want to come out with some good hardware and hard-fought, well-earned hardware, I mean, this is your opportunity. So everybody got to go out and take care of business tonight.
I think ever since they reinstated the duels here last year, I think the Pierre team, I think most teams in state have kind of bought onto them, but I think more importantly, our team right now, we've got guys up and down the line of that they see this as obviously a big opportunity for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, some teams haven't bought into it. A team like Sturgis, they did not. They opted not to. In Class B, I'm thinking of a Phillip area team that can fill most weight classes, if not all, and they did not elect to get in on it either. But maybe focusing on the team title in the brackets is, in the traditional manner of speaking, is still the way that some teams want to go.
I think these coaches are holding their breath too, hoping that nobody gets injured.
Oh yeah.
With still the placing rounds coming tomorrow, and it's adds a new component to the state tournament.
8-1 our score as we come to the 10-second mark, period number 2. Riley Benson in front, but Trey Lewis, who's getting called caution for stalling now at the end of the second period. Still in the down, but still in just a decision margin. Tyson Johnson with a 6-0 win started the Governors with a 3-0 lead in the duel. And again, they'll start neutral here as Trey Lewis on his feet with Riley Benson. I'm going to take a quick look at brackets here. Talked about Achilles Willowite of winner area 3-1 win. Sudden victory, in fact, over Zach Richardson of Canton. So winner in Wessington Springs, Woonsocket Woolsey Wessington in the final at 285 tomorrow. And Preston Norrid joins him in the finals, teammate for winner area. He's got a 5-0 win over Marcus Harkless of Hot Springs. Close to another takedown here, but it is a takedown and a 10-2 lead. As Trey Lewis was allowed up at the beginning of this third period. So now major margin for Rapid City Stevens, 1:29 to go. Hands on the back instead of the arm wrapped around here. Lewis starts crawling away. He'll be allowed up. Cuts it back to 7. Now Lewis comes in, gets a leg.
Got to work to get his head inside, head in the middle. If he can get his head in the middle and come out the backside, that's pretty good position. Right now he's kind of shot across the body, and that's tough to finish.
Minute 10 going. But even still, longer you can choose some time here in this third period, the better if you are Trey Lewis. Lewis wrestled at 145 against Mitchell last night, got a big win, trying at 152 today, and now, well, control has been taken by the Rapid City Stevens wrestler. Riley Benson now leads 12-3 with a takedown. These two teams did meet in the East-West duels. We talked about it last night. Rapid City Stevens lost 3 matches to Brandon Valley, Pierre, and Harrisburg. On that day, the final match or the final duel of the tournament was Pierre and Rapid City Stevens. Governors won it 38-29 if memory serves. Second stalling call against Trey Lewis. That's a point to Riley Benson. That makes it a 10-point lead as we come to the 10-second mark, and we'll call this one a major decision for Riley Benson, which will give Rapid City Stevens the early lead now, 4-3. Benson with the win, 13-3. We'll take a 30-second break, go to 160 next. You're listening to Pierre Governor State Championship Wrestling on KGFX.
With more and more people being at home, chances are you'll access a social media site to stay in touch with family and friends. Before you do this, please check your privacy settings to ensure you're being the safest you can be. For step-by-step instructions on how to check and change your privacy settings for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and the like, go to consumer.sd.gov. With questions, contact South Dakota Consumer Protection Division, 1-800-300-1986, or email consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Welcome back to Rapid City. Deegan Huska does move up to 160 pounds. His opponent, Tyler Voorhees of Rapid City Stevens. I had that written down, but I thought I heard something completely different. But it is Tyler Voorhees for Rapid City Central. Both of these guys are still alive. Both will place in the brackets. Huska's in the third round wrestlebacks. I think Voorhees lost in the semifinals, so he's in the fourth round wrestlebacks tomorrow. Huska looking for a chance and an opening to get him taken down here, but they're on the left side of the circle with a minute 15 to go, first period, and they're locked up. Tightly face to face. Huska trying to get spun around, but he's got to get his hand. Okay, I was going to say I thought he had to get his hand released, but he's got it now. 2-point takedown. Deegan Huska. Once he got that leg around, wasn't it? Is that where he got the takedown?
Yeah, most of the time he capped that ankle. Did a really good job getting separation there, guy, defending off that shot, getting his hips back, and absolutely just, doing what he needs to do there.
We've seen Deegan Huska wrestle very well for much of the season, and I think he's wrestled very well this weekend, but some guys just aren't good matchups. There's so many there's so many great wrestlers in this tournament. I consider Deegan Huska much better than average, but still very difficult against some of the guys in his weight class or any weight class. And the match that he saw earlier today was, again, there's just difficult matchups for everybody out there.
Yeah, and right now he's in one of those. I mean, when you're giving up weight, wrestling a bigger kid who is placing in the state tournament, Voorhees, who's a common, very good wrestling name from Rapid City Stevens, it's hard. It's hard to give up weight at all, especially against a quality kid.
Deegan Huska was beaten by Riley Benson yesterday, actually. Benson, we just saw, got a major decision win. So while we were talking, there was a reversal. Tyler Voorhees tied the match at 2-2, and as the first period comes to an end, what are we talking about now?
Well, we're pretty sure that Deegan Huska also got a reversal there with the last couple of seconds left, but yeah.
And Sean Lewis is thinking that as well, so he's asking for clarification, not being allowed, or what?
Oh, game one, though. They did go lost the separation, correct?
So 3-2, okay.
They got 3-2, so they gave him lost control
there.
Yep. I mean, I would have went 2 there for sure, but I may be a little biased.
One escape there. Huska starts the second period, leading 3-2, and now he's got, well, he had an opportunity to get Voorhees wrestled over, but Voorhees able to stay face down, and it looks like Deegan trying to hang on a little bit here.
He's got to get his hips up.
Boy, he was sitting pretty good there for a second, and then he switched off.
Maybe just didn't finish what he had started there, but here, leg wrapped around the body and in and underneath, 30 seconds into the second period.
This is where Deegan can really put a lot of hurting on some guys. I mean, he's a good leg rider, great leg rider, and if anything, we're either going to kill some time or, he's going to wear on that body and tire him out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and how much force are you putting around the midsection of a guy that you're on top of here? I mean, this can't be too comfortable if Deegan is squeezing tightly here.
You just got to be careful to stay in good position, stay behind the arms.
Voorhees getting underneath, and Huska outside the circle. Voorhees still in, and now Tyler Voorhees has Deegan Huska turned over. 2-point reversal, and now Huska is in a little trouble. 40 seconds to go, second period, plenty of time, but Voorhees has taken the lead. Huska trying to avoid bonus points here, which would be in Rapid City Stevens' favor. 3 back points will be pending if Huska gets out of this. Pending for Tyler Voorhees. Clock ticking down to 15 seconds left in the second period. Sometimes you put all of your body weight up to the top, and Voorhees trying to get a little cradle here. Turn him over. 4 seconds left. He's turned over again. 3-2-1. No pin, but the 3 back points were still pending. And that's what Voorhees will get out of this one. So a 4-point or a 5-point turnaround for Stevens on this match. And Tyler Voorhees will lead 7-3 as we go to the third period. Yeah, sometimes you, as you called it, leg ride. Sometimes you get up a little bit high, but I got to imagine it's real hard to keep control. And we saw Voorhees was able to kind of squirm out from behind, and he got his arms free, and that was able to spring him into a reversal, and then he had his own hold for more points. 7-3, Huska's in the down to begin the third period.
Another thing you look at with Voorhees, obviously you just tried putting the legs in there, and you always kind of, if you're good at doing something, you're probably also good at defending it as well. And that's, again, maybe something you want to take a look at in the future with some of these matchups and just maybe stay away from, and try to get to be not conservative by any means, but maybe something a little bit more smart wrestling and just keep yourself out of those situations.
They're wrestling at 182. Harrisburg now leading Brandon Valley 15-6, 45, 52, 60, 70. They wrestled 4 matches, and Harrisburg on top of Brandon Valley 15-6 in that third place duel. Nothing going on with Deegan Huska in the down position. Stalemate's called. He'll get another opportunity to try to work his way out. Rapid City Stevens on top in the duel, 4-3. On top in the match, 7-3.
This is where Deegan is really feeling the size difference. He's third period, he's already tired, and now you've got someone quite a bit bigger that's really good on top. It makes for a long third period.
50 seconds still to go. Huska trying to make movements, but they're not big. And Tyler Voorhees, just arms wrapped around. Huska trying to get him around the neck, maybe to get him spun over. That was a bit of a flurry there for Deegan Huska. And now Voorhees doing the leg riding here. Boy, Deegan just about had him, kind of caught him off guard almost, and if he could have just had a little more room to flip him over. But that didn't happen. Still 7-3. 10 seconds to go here. Match number 3 out of 14. Trey Stoffaker with a win for Harrisburg. They're up 21-6. 7-3 will be the final in our third match. And Tyler Voorhees with the victory to give Stevens a 7-3 lead in the duel as well. Another 30-second break, up to 170 we go. After this is Pierre Governor Wrestling.
There's an app for everything, including high school sports from the stations of DRG Media Group. Download the DRG News app, brought to you by the Golden Buffalo Casino, from the App Store or Google Play. It takes only a moment, so you'll have it in time for this game. See live and archived video of all games. And when you select your favorite station during the live stream, the video will immediately pop up. See Central South Dakota high school sports on your phone or mobile device with the DRG News app, brought to you by the Golden Buffalo Casino. Download it now at the App Store or Google Play.
Back in Rapid City, up to 170 pounds we go. We expect Jaden Weeby.
Lucas Chamberlain.
Oh, it is Lucas.
Rapid City Stevens.
This was, we saw the red token showing, and Stevens was to report first. Chamberlain had come out. Now you got Chamberlain against Tanner Van Scoy. Van Scoy will not place in the individual bracket for Rapid City Stevens. Chamberlain was beaten out in his first couple of matches, first one yesterday and the second one today. So an opportunity, though, for Lucas Chamberlain, who gets a good takedown here on Van Scoy. He'll start 2-0. Actually, they've got a red 2 up there. Usually in state tournaments, governors are green, but and now an escape for Van Scoy, and he gets a throw here with Chamberlain, and suddenly into a headlock goes Chamberlain. And that switched around awful quickly. We're a minute into this first period. They've switched the score. It's now 3-2 after that takedown, but Van Scoy trying to get more of the body weight of Lucas Chamberlain, leaning over. Oh, he's got a little more added. The official in for a close look. Still can't see it until now. 1 minute, 19 seconds, a win by fall for Tanner Van Scoy, and Rapid City Stevens will now tack on 6 and open up a 13-3 lead on the Governors. The score comes to us courtesy of the Wegner Auto scoreboard, brought to you by Wegner Auto in Pierre, the one place to go. Wegner Auto with BS kicking off tomorrow morning. We'll keep it here and go to 182 pounds. Gavin Stotts will wrestle for the Governors. Jaden Alexander for Rapid City Stevens. So a bit of a hole. 3 in a row for Rapid City Stevens. It's time for the big boys to respond if you're the Governors. No doubt about that.
Yeah, Gavin's having a good state tournament. You know, I look for him to do some good things here.
Jaden Alexander, I think, if I recall, at 182 was beaten in his third match. Went 1-2 in this tournament. Stotts coming out with a bit of a flurry. Alexander was beaten, in fact, by Hunter Stombach of Cheyenne Eagle Butte Dupree in the second round wrestlebacks. And we are going to have a whistle and a blood timeout here. Blood timeout from the nose of Jaden Alexander after a takedown given to Gavin Stotts.
He's been so fun to watch this year and just progression. We talked about him early on in the season and just where, not even this year, but from last year to where he's at right now, and just, you know, the ability, his defense has been pretty, you know, above. I mean, it's been really good today, actually. And then, you know, the ability to reshot and taking really good shots and finishing those shots. I mean, his head's in the right place right now, and it's a great time of the year for that to happen.
Wrestling IQ, it's gotten better. Yep.
Good way to put that. Learning on the fly, especially. I mean, he did that a lot last year, wrestling as a freshman, kind of in that varsity role often, but just a little bit more, and again, still fairly young, as you guys say, for the big weight class that he's in.
And you go back to Lucas Chamberlain, same situation. I mean, there's a freshman right now that's wrestling at 170 pounds and wrestling some guys that are older, a little bit more mature, and have had that experience the last couple of years. And I expect him over the next year just to develop the same way that Gavin has in the last year for him.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a 170-pound ninth grader and a 170-pound senior.
Yeah. 2-0. Stotts leads. The blood is cleared from the nose of Jaden Alexander. He's active, coming back on the reset. He's out of the hold of Stotts, so a 1-point escape for the Stevens wrestler here. Now 2-1. Stotts with the lead. We're 20 seconds in, as Harrisburg continues to lead Brandon Valley through the middle weights, now getting into the upper weight classes in that third place duel. Stott still on his feet along with Alexander. And again, this another opportunity here for the Governors, probably going to be favored on paper in this match, but the question is, how much can they take advantage of the matchup if that matchup is indeed in their favor?
Yeah, we're in a situation now where we have to have bonus points.
Alexander, as senior, came into the state tournament 16-17 on the season. Stotts came in 24-11, of course, the sophomore for Pierre. 1:06 gone by, 54 seconds to go. Still in the first period. This is at 1:82. We started at 1:45. Tyson Johnson with a decision victory first off for the Governors, but losses for Trey Lewis, Deegan Huska, Jaden Wiebe up through 170 pounds. Stevens leading 13-3. As these two lock up once again. We talk a lot about how much Gavin Stotts has grown physically and mentally in this game, but still a guy that just kind of bides his time a little bit, and I think he's just looking for his opening here, but still attacking, and Alexander backing off one too many times. He just got warned for stalling. And we're just in the first period.
Yeah, and there's smart attacks too. I mean, when he's taking his shots, he's not really putting himself in danger. They're not great shots, but they're on the edge of the mat to where he also realizes that, the risk probably isn't, or the risk really isn't there. And so, again, we start seeing that over and over and over again, you're going to start getting those stall calls.
First period ticking away, 3-2-1, and Gavin Stotts will take a 2-1 lead into the second period. Hayden Viox with a win by forfeit, and maybe Brandon Valley's not 100% invested into this third place duel.
Yeah, kind of looking like maybe they're sitting some of their big guns over there.
At 285 pounds, Josh Larson, Harrisburg, winner by forfeit.
Navarro Shunky's not going to wrestle either. For Brandon Valley now, Harrisburg leads 38-6. Takedown here for Stotts. Actually started the period with an escape as well, so he got one, then got two, led 5-1. Now he lets Alexander free for the second time. 5-2, Gavin Stotts in front. We're just 30 seconds in to period number 2. See the big screen in the AA champion, or the Class B championship. Sam Kruger of Winter area, undefeated wrestler at 170 pounds, leading Luke Richardson 10-0. That's actually going to be the championship matchup tomorrow in the individual bracket, if I remember correctly. That is the case. Stotts and Alexander still trying to get each other down to the mat here. 5-2. Gavin Stotts in front. A minute gone and a minute to go in the second. Locking up again. Stotts spinning around. There's another takedown. Third of the match for Gavin. He leads 7-2. Still plenty of time to do some more damage here. See if he can get Alexander on his back, but Alexander's still very good at getting back to his feet. Third escape for Jaden Alexander, now 7-3 with 30 seconds to wrestle, second period. Lock up again. Now we just kind of start seeing the tendencies here, and kind of things tend to repeat themselves. How about another takedown here for Gavin Stotts?
Yeah, most of Gavin's points have been off of the guy's shot himself with good defense. I like to see him kind of get back to his underhook, I think, a little bit more on his feet and start attacking there. He's just not quite able to get it yet.
Out of bounds, they'll go with 1 second left in the third period, the second period rather. Still actually 9-3 now after that most recent takedown.
All these points are a direct reflection of Gavin's hustle. I mean, he's absolutely out hustling his opponent.
Well, they let that last second go. So we start the third period now. Gavin in the up position. And again, Alexander gets up, able to break free. Stotts checks not just the time, but the score. 9-4, only a 5-point lead. So Gavin, for him, it's time to start scoring. As Coach Noyes just mentioned, needing some bonus points in this match. Stotts gets him down. Comes back around, has another takedown.
Go again.
Now it's time to let him up. 11-4 becomes 11-5. 6-point advantage. You got to do that 3 more times or 2 more times to make that a major decision, though.
And plenty of time. I like how he kind of scored on his own offense there. Just a nice little snap down, go behind, and
aggressive here, but Alexander slipped up and around. Now he'll get a takedown, and that'll make matters a little more difficult for Stotze, especially since, well, they'll be on the edge, so out of bounds. They'll get back to the beginning, and Stotz started one period with a quick escape. Hopefully he can do that again, but now 11-7. And there's still time, but now you might have to really start thinking about setting up a move that gets the guy on his back right away. First things first, get out of the hold. Alexander trying to lock up that leg. Stotz got up, but he's tripped back up. Now he spins out. There's your 2-point reversal. Checks the score, 13-7, 45 seconds to go. He'll let him loose, 13-8. Stotz trying to do quick work again, but they separate. Back to the middle. Gavin with another shot.
He either needs to go feet to back or get 2 takedowns.
I think if you're heavy on that head, go to that snap down again, go behind. His shots aren't quite there right now.
Jaden Alexander doing a good job wrestling defensively here. 15 seconds to go. Now to the edge in the upper left, and they're out of bounds. 12 seconds to go.
Time for a Jordan Burroughs blast double.
Well, I mean, the guy's got a stall call on him as well. I mean, if he can possibly get a stall call plus a takedown here in the last 10 seconds, that could actually give him that 8-point difference.
Down to 5 as they reset or restarted. And that's how this one's going to come to an end. It's a win for Stotz, but not quite what he wanted. 13-8 will do for now, and the Governors will tack on 3. Back within 13-6, Stevens leading by 7 in the duel, and Jacob Larson making his way to report. We'll keep it here. This will be a tough matchup here for the Governors. It's Larson, the senior, at 195 against Ryan Brink, who is going back to the state finals tomorrow for the second time in a row.
You know, I like to see that disappointment on Gavin's, body language in his face. He was disappointed that he didn't get bonus points, but here he is, wrestling as a young pup against a senior, and that just shows you what kind of competitor Gavin is.
So big opportunity here for Jacob Larson, and again, maybe he needs to minimize damage, but maybe he's one of these guys that we've seen been able to catch some guys from time to time, maybe get a good throw, and we shall see. Jacob had a big win in the Brandon Valley match over Luke Wickersham last night with a takedown at the end, and then he came back and pinned him in the wrestlebacks here today, so he's having a pretty good 24-hour stretch.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with him too, just his composure on the mat. I mean, he's wrestling really smart matches, not putting himself in danger. Just again, something.
Brink came after him, gets him down. Actually, first movement had Jacob on top, but Ryan Brink able to come out and get his arm wrapped around, so the 2-point takedown goes to Brink. 50 seconds to go. Wheelbarrowing Jacob Larson now up to the top of the circle from our vantage point. Keeps Larson on the mat. And that Harrisburg-Brandon Valley matchup is a foregone conclusion, or an anticlimactic one at that. Now 62-6, Harrisburg. Brandon Valley bringing a 132-pounder out, ready to wrestle. I think that's Alex Mincer. And boy, Alex Mincer's having some kind of tournament. 3 quick pins and 3 matches in the bracket at 132. Had a quick win over Kaylor Heinman in the duel last night that tied that duel, only to see the Governors win it on criteria. By the way, Governors did beat Mitchell 38-19 last night in the quarterfinals. They beat Brandon Valley 34-34, but with criteria. 5 seconds to go here. Still 2-0, but Larson gets out and will get an escape right at the end of the first period. Now 2-1.
those are the good things to see out of a kid like Larson. You know, again, not going out of the period, going down 2-0, fighting, getting a point there. You know, good things coming from him.
Second period will start. Brink down, Larson up, left arm wrapped around, and easily up and out goes Ryan Brink. We have been reading today that we have listeners in Texas. They're snowed in. What else can they do?
Right.
Old friends of ours from the capital city who have moved south. We say hello to our old school counselor and principal. What did you say that
yeah, you got to
Mrs.
give
Lochner had the little dolphin or
yeah,
something?
you got to give a shout out to Duso. That was the favorite time of my elementary years. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, those are great.
I was convinced Duso was real.
No, it's good people down there. Anyway, 3-1 here after that opening escape in the second period. But wherever you are, you can join us online at drgnews.com. We got the DRG News app as well, downloadable for the iPhone or the Android. Also, it's brought to you by the Golden Buffalo. Live streaming, by the way, at drgnews.com, made possible by Sioux Nation in Fort Pierre. Brian Oakland with the coaches. Ryan Noyes, John Wayne Calda here at Rapid City. Heather Williams running the show in studio this evening. Big shout out to her as well. As our two wrestlers at 95 locking up. Ryan Brink coming with the up and under. Jacob Larson trying to shake loose. Not happening yet.
Let's not forget what Larson has, in the arsenal here. Last night, great win against Mitchell. Came tail end of the match. Guy was kind of putting a lot of pressure on him. Went to that nice little fireman's out of that. And again, I got to kind of think that maybe that's in the back of his mind right now as Brink just keeps kind of pushing the issue on him.
When they were just locked up right now, you saw kind of a huge size advantage, height-wise, for Brink over Larson as well. And I mean, I imagine that secret weapon, if you want to call it that, the fireman's, is not that easy to do when you're up against a guy that's 5 or 6 inches taller than you.
No, but again, he's capitalized on a lot of guys just from simply, his low center of gravity, if you want to call it that, would also allow him to get in on some shots on some legs there too. The other thing you start looking at is if Brink's going to start going for big, he's not putting up a lot of points on us either in the match, and so possibly keeping this underneath the major.
Yeah, and what Jacob lacks in size, he makes up for in strength. He's a strong kid.
And I'll add a little heart in there too. How about
Absolutely.
that? I mean, third period's underway, still 3-1. Ryan Brink. Mentioned he's making a return trip to the finals. He's going to face Luke Rasmussen, who's undefeated from Brookings in the finals. Both of those guys lost state championship matches a year ago. Larson gets out. Now a 1-point match here. Time to have some fun. Minute and a half to go. We're at 195 pounds in the third period. Staring each other down. Brink picking his spot, coming after him, and Larson takes him down out of bounds right in front of the Rapid City Stevens bench. Boy, they went down hard. Unfortunately for Jacob Larson, he was the one up above, and nothing happened out of that, but maybe Ryan Brink felt a little, felt the effects of that collision a little bit. But Brink coming right back. He's got a takedown here right in the middle of the mat. 1 minute to go and a 5-2 decision margin.
That shows you how complex this sport is. I mean, Jacob was very disciplined the entire match. He takes one shot that wasn't great and gets taken down. Not that it was a bad shot, it just wasn't very high percentage.
So Brink still in control here, 35 seconds to wrestle, 5-2, he has the lead. Jacob is out. Brink probably okay with that, but yeah, you're right, still a chance here with 20 seconds left, but if there is one of those big throws here, now would be the time for Jacob Larson. Tried to go low. Brink hops and skips away.
I like Coach Calda's thoughts. A fireman's would be nice right here, but he looks content to just...
Well, he just doesn't, I don't think he knows how to get that in place, so this one comes to an end. 5-3, Ryan Brink with the win. Stevens adds 3. They're back to a 10-point advantage. They lead the Governors 16-6. And a big match coming up for the Governors with Reagan Bolweg at 220 pounds. He'll take on Eli Hewitt. Bolweg, he is making a return trip to the state finals. Lost at 195 to Gavin Galbrinson a year ago in overtime, but now he's undefeated this year. Got a win over Connor Werchus of Watertown 3-0. Bolweg thrown out of bounds here by Hewitt, and we'll take a lap around the the Stevens bench, and now Reagan Bolweg doing what I've almost seen him do a few too many times here, just getting a quick start while in a neutral position.
And the guy gets a couple cautions. Might as well use one if you get a chance. Really no harm, no foul on that.
Trying to grab for an ankle. They're out of bounds, though. Hewitt trying to spin back around. Good job by him not to quit on that play, even though he was well out of bounds at the time. 30 seconds in. Here's Bolweg. Now he's got that leg up and the body down. 2-point takedown. Bolweg will work on top. Bolweg, arm around the waist with the left arm wrapped around. He's just trying to muscle him over. Hewitt perpendicular right now. Now he's back face down. So we determined, Coach Noyes, you're not a math teacher, but you were a science teacher. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a science of wrestling that we were talking about a little bit ago. So, okay. That's why you're a wrestling coach.
That's right.
Okay.
Former.
Problem solving, right?
Yes.
That's what it comes down to. Figuring out a way to win.
This
chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, it's all science, right? Yeah.
Well,
This is more of a lab situation right now.
30 seconds left. First period, Bolweg still leading. Official, I think, asking both of them, hey, let's get something going here. Bolweg works with the leg, now comes back up top. Boy, I think with Reagan, it's obviously there's a lot of science to it, but with some guys, I feel they can rely a lot more on brute strength, and just seems like Reagan's one of those guys.
Well, brute strength, but he's also just incredibly stingy. And he's one of the most stingy wrestlers I've seen with allowing his opponents to score any points on him. He almost takes it personal.
It would be interesting to see how many points he's allowed, or any wrestler has allowed this season, other than maybe, other than escapes and things like that. But because I'm sure that's how they usually get scored on. Here's a second caution now for false start for Reagan Bolweg, though, as we begin our second period. He's out. 3-0, Bolweg with the lead. Neutral again with Hewitt. Injury timeout for a Brandon Valley wrestler. Nope, for a Harrisburg wrestler. They're still at 132. Good match going. If that is Alex Menser of Brandon Valley, that is not the way we expected that one to be going. But Harrisburg's going to beat Brandon Valley for third place. Here's Hewitt getting around Bolweg. He's keeping his toes in, and he's got a takedown of Reagan Bolweg. Now out of bounds, and Coach Lewis will give his interpretation. And Mr. Corneman says, nope, it's not how we saw it. So 3-2, still a lot of time, 1:19 to go, second period. Bolweg got taken down, so he's in the down position on the reset here. Spins out. That's quick. That's college tight end quick.
Well, yeah, with him, you talk about brute strength, you talk about relentless, you talk about speed. I mean, it's pretty much a total package. When he wants to do something,
he will
do something.
And there he did get the legs up in the air. The good takedown. Bolweg comes right back. Hewitt is outside the circle. Bolway again. Here he's trying to wrestle him back in, cradles him up, and there's a pin right there. Reagan Bolway suddenly out of nowhere comes up with a big win in a time of 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Bolway gives the Governors a shot in the arm. We're halfway through our duel in the state championships. Halftime in our broadcasts are brought to you by CHS Midwest Cooperatives. We'll hear from them in a little bit, but the scoreboard now reads 16-12. Rapid City Stevens. Let's hear from CHS Midwest Co-op when we're back for the heavyweight bout next. This is the state dual championship on KGFX.
Now, we don't have to tell you that farming gets more complicated every year, but what we can do is bring you Allegiant seed from CHS Midwest Cooperative. Allegiant brings you leading traits that fits your farm plan perfectly. These are proven farm solutions made simple. And because Allegiant comes from a trusted team that knows your land, choosing Allegiant seed might just be the simplest decision you make all season. For more information on Allegiant seed, contact your local CHS Midwest Cooperative today.
We are back in Rapid City. Bit of a delay here, but before the heavyweight match. And there's a Stevens wrestler with a great story that just got acknowledged. The son of Coach Noyes. Tell us that story, Tim Matthews of Sturgis.
Yeah, Tim Matthews wrestled, probably late 80s for Sturgis. Was a standout South Dakota wrestler, I believe, state champ, if not multiple state champ. And that was his son that just went out and accepted I don't know if it was accepted in a forfeit or just got his hand raised. Acknowledgement for all the hard work that he's put in.
Absolutely. And just, guys like that hang around the wrestling room, and people that, that the Stevens team can rally around. And I mean, everybody needs that little boost in morale sometimes, and I think gives everybody to wrestle with a little more of a purpose. So here we go, 15 seconds in. We're at heavyweight, 285 pounds. Preston Taylor will take on Colton Lowen, 285-pounder for Rapid City Stevens. Lowen has been beaten out of the tournament in the bracket, but he'll try to give Preston Taylor some fits here. Taylor defeated by Beau Foot once again, 5-0 a little while ago. Beau Foot of Mitchell into the finals. Preston Taylor in the fourth round wrestlebacks. Taylor, by the way, waiting for a Vermilion Sioux Falls, Washington matchup tomorrow to determine his next champion or his next opportunity. Nothing happening yet here.
I got some more information on Mason Matthew. He is a Special Olympic athlete with Down syndrome, and he's a junior this year as part of the Raiders wrestling program. And Travis King said he will be the first wrestler in 52 years to go undefeated for Stevens. So, very cool.
50 seconds to go. Taylor trying to work on his first takedown of this match. Working for the Governors against Stevens. There it is, 2-0. Taylor takes the first lead. Nothing going to happen with that, so he'll let him up. Try to get another one here. 2-1 now. Lowen coming back. Little pushing and shoving. Locking up here. And Preston Taylor. Really wasn't that long ago he wrestled here. About, I guess it's been about an hour. Time certainly flies sometimes, but when they finished that semifinal round, I was thinking, well, he's going to need a little more time to get rested up, but he has had an hour now. Stalling here. That's the second time already for Colton Lowen. Now Taylor gets him down only to see the first period come to an end. The takedown will go, so 2 takedowns and a penalty, a point awarded for Taylor as well on a couple of stallings from Colton Lowen. Preston leads 5-1. Another big spot for the Governors, maybe to try to take a lead in this match, because Rapid City Stevens going to be very difficult once they get to those smaller weights after this match.
And I'm guessing Preston Taylor right now is the guy that wants to give them that lead. I think he's a little disappointed after a semifinal match, and we're seeing a little bit more aggressive. I mean, obviously you got different matchup here, compared to Beaufoot. Maybe be a little bit more tentative and cautious with them. But again, here he's coming out and with definite purpose.
Now Taylor pushing Lowen out of bounds, but forcing him out, and he just got called for stalling.
I don't understand. Preston's trying to get inside, and as he's pushing inside, the Stevens wrestler's backing out of the circle, and so
there's a good throw. Taylor's got him down. This may not last long. There it is. So Preston Taylor decided enough is enough. Back-to-back pins for Bullwagon Taylor, 3:42. Preston will put the Governors on top, 18-16 on the Wagner-Auto scoreboard. Quick 30-second break. We go to 106 next. This is Governor State Tournament Wrestling.
Hometown spirit, nothing else comes near it. It's the kind of pride that you feel inside, the spirit of our hometown. Hometown spirit, nothing else comes near it.
Hometown spirit, nothing else comes near it. Owyhee Federal Credit Union, proud to be your hometown credit union since 1955. Federally insured by NCUA.
Back again in Rapid City to the fellas down below in a weight class 106. It's Lincoln Schoenhardt back at it for the Governors as he takes on Evan Ekholm of Rapid City Stevens. Schoenhardt was beaten out of the state tournament this morning, even though he had some huge wins for the Governors last night against both Mitchell and Brandon Valley. Still going 0 for 2 in his first state tournament in the individual bracket, but boy, a 7th grade youngster that's got a bright future ahead. And he can try to get one final note of positivity in his season, although Evan Ekholm's still alive in the state tournament bracket, and Ekholm has the takedown, and he's trying to work Lincoln into a cradle here. Now Lincoln on his back momentarily. Ekholm tries it again, and he's got a better opportunity. That will be enough for 2 points, but Ekholm might get him again. Rocking back and forth, Lincoln Schoenhardt left and right, trying to keep the shoulders off of the mat. Dave Korneman from Yankton, our mat official, and he'll blow the whistle in the first period win by fall for Evan Ekholm in 1 minute and 24 seconds. So Ekholm will give Stevens the lead right back after Preston Taylor had done that for the Governors. 6 for the Raiders, and they'll lead 22-18. Scoreboard from Wagner Auto Company in Pierre. The one place to go, South Dakota's oldest auto dealer with BS coming up tomorrow. And it won't get any easier for the Governors here. At 113 pounds, Noah Williams wrestles against Jack Schoenhardt. Schoenhardt at 113. We'll see Logan Graff at 120. They're both heading for the state championships tomorrow night for Rapid City Stevens. Meanwhile, Noah Williams, who also had some big dual victories last night, bounced out of the state tournament this morning. Here's Schoenhardt with a quick double leg. Takedown good. And he'll take a 2-0 lead. 30 seconds into this match. Now trying to work Williams over. Kind of get the sense now that Rapid City Stevens is going to be out for blood here in these next couple of matches with their 2 studs.
Yeah, if they got an opportunity to put kids away, I mean, that's going to be their ultimate goal. I think they'll be disappointed with anything other than that. Obviously on our end, we want to try to keep these things as close as possible right now.
Jack Schoenhardt has only lost 1 match all season long. And as mentioned, we'll be wrestling in the state championship against an undefeated returning champion, Quincy Halverson from T area. That'll be tomorrow night. And then you got Logan Graff, undefeated. At 120, we'll take on Nate Williams. The Governors will finish, though, with Blake Judson against Caleb Richter, Kaylor Heinman against Jacob McCormick, and Hayden Schaefer against Corderdoni. So if Stevens has the advantage in these next couple of matches, you still think Pierre has the edge in the last 3. This one still could come right down to that last match.
I mean, you also start looking back at that match with like Larson had with Voorhees or Brink. I can't remember where he ended up.
Ryan Brink, yep.
Sometimes when you start trying to do too much, as on the offensive side of it, you kind of you kind of lose sight on actually scoring points, and you're not able to, get as many points as you probably could have if you just wrestled your own style of match. So that'd be the other thing to kind of keep a look at here as well.
Schoenhardt working on Williams. And they'll roll out of bounds with 6 seconds to go, first period. Harrisburg and Brandon Valley taking a while to finish up, but they are in overtime at 138 pounds. That is going to be their final match of that duel. Harrisburg going to win third place as Brandon Valley clearly chose to rest everybody. Brandon Valley does have a lead on Rapid City Stevens in the team standings of the bracket tournament. Second period underway. Williams forced to go to the top. Schoenhardt underneath. Schoenhardt leading 2-0. So we had Lincoln Schoenhardt for Pierre at 1:06, but now Jack Schoenhardt for Rapid City Stevens at 1:13. Jack is a junior, but it still seems like he's been around a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, he has been. He's one of those youth wrestlers that's come through their program that's had a ton of success as well. Talking about bonus points once again, if we can escape even one of these without giving up a pin to, both Schoenhardt and Graff are outstanding wrestlers. So if we can get by without giving up a pin in one of these matches, I like our chances with the last three.
Still 2-0. Williams, he's still in control, 37 seconds in, but another reset after going out of bounds for the second time in the second period. Harrisburg's got a edge in a tiebreaker in overtime in that last match with Brandon Valley, so Harrisburg still has some things to prove. And out of bounds, potentially dangerous here with a minute to go. Still 2-0, second period.
Noah just needs to stay very disciplined, stay in good position, and not get too out of position here.
Schoenhardt working his way out and has a chance to get a reversal. He's keeping his toes in, and one. He'll get one for the escape. Did not get the reversal. Harrisburg has defeated Brandon Valley as that duel is over. Now 3-0, Jack Schoenhardt leads.
To present the team awards for the Class A State Wrestling Tournament.
35 seconds to go here in the second period. Looks like Winter and Canton are up to their heavyweight bout. Zach Richardson and Achilles Willowhite. Achilles just beat him 3-1 in the semifinals a little while ago. Willowhite made the finals a year ago as well. Brandon Valley being announced as fourth place finishers in the state duel tournament. Harrisburg will get their third place honors. Of course, we still have a ways to go with Stevens and Pierre. Here is Jack Schoenhardt now with a 2-point takedown near the end of the second period. 5 seconds to go, now 3-2-1, and the lead is 5. So, even though it's a 5-point margin, things just got a little dicier, I think, for Noah Williams with that late takedown here. Third period underway as Williams is in the down position here.
And that's what we talked about, just wrestling a smart match. When there's 15 seconds left, you got to know, first of all, that it's short time and you can't afford to make a mistake.
5-0. Schoenhardt trying to work over Williams. Williams is trying to stay flat as much as possible, and now stalemate called here. Pretty good job by Noah to stay rigid and keep from getting rolled over.
Right.
He's playing a wrestling pretty good defensive match here. I got to imagine they're going to probably try cutting him here in probably about 20 seconds to get back on his feet.
I was just going to say the same thing.
20 seconds would be that 1 minute mark. Is that pretty much the time in this situation that everybody kind of looks for? And
you just want to give your wrestler a chance to get some work done. If you wait too long, there's not enough time to get it done.
So now we're hitting that minute mark. Schoenhardt still on top. Not really getting that from the coaches yet, although he is working on the wing here, and now Williams rolling over on the back, and Jack Schoenhardt has finally gotten what he wanted, even though Williams comes up on top now. There will be back points of 3, but Williams is loose. So now 8-0 becomes 8-1. Those 3 back points make it 8-0. But as Williams has worked his way out, now it is 8-1. 37 seconds to go as they reset neutral. On their feet. Schoenhardt comes for a leg, gets it up, got the takedown. And just like that, a major decision margin, 10-1. And Schoenhardt really doesn't need to do any more. Here's a stalling warning to Noah Williams. 15 seconds left, and stalemate, or what? Oh, blood? Noah Williams says blood now.
Yeah, kind of came across a little hard on the crossface. Actually got 1-point penalty for us, so a little rest right here, a little burst of energy for the last 13 seconds. Maybe try to get an escape.
I actually didn't see that. The floor scoreboard is was right in front of my field of vision there. So
yeah, a little frustration. I mean, Williams was again kind of doing what he was told to do in that situation, holding on to a wrist and just kind of making sure he doesn't get turned again or possibly go to his back, and just seen a little bit of frustration out of him and come across a little hard on the crossface.
You don't suppose we're going to tie in this duel again, do you? That's what happened last night. The Governors defeated Brandon Valley on criteria because of a hard closed fist crossface, and that's what we're talking about here now. And we're thinking it's possible this match could come down to the wire, or this duel rather. This match right now is 10-2, and it's interesting you say maybe Noah gets a little burst of energy here for the last 15 seconds. Now he tries to get up and get out, but Schoenhardt keeps him on the floor. Schoenhardt keeping him wrapped up. Williams trying 1, 2 times, 3 times to get up and out. He will not do it. It will be a major decision for Jack Schoenhardt, but 1 bonus point is better than 2 or 3 if you're the Pierre Governors. But Stevens will lead now 26-18 on the scoreboard on that 10-2 major decision win for Jack Schoenhardt. So here we go to 120 pounds as we're driven by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, reminding us all, don't text and drive, stay alive. You're listening to Pierre Governor Wrestling from the State Wrestling Tournament on your official voice of the Governors. 1060 AM, 107.1 FM, KGFX, Pierre, member of DRG Media Group, live streaming audio only, drgnews.com and the KGFX page, and also through the KGFX portion of the DRG News app. Brought to you by Golden Buffalo. Brian Oakland with Heather Williams back in studio. John Calda, Ryan Noyes at side here helping us out in our coverage. We'll be doing this again for all of the state individual championship matches, which will include 3 Pierre Governors. It'll include 1 Chamberlain Cub. It'll include 4 or 5 Phillip area wrestlers, the Badlands Brawlers, some other area wrestlers. A lot of Winter Warriors going to be involved in that broadcast tomorrow night, and one from Wessington Springs that we've been following, among others. So best of luck to everybody that'll be still going tomorrow. Now we've got a minute gone by, and Logan Graff of Rapid City Stevens has Nate Williams on the mat trying to work for a hold. Logan Graff is undefeated. He came into this state tournament 33-0. He's a junior for Rapid City Stevens. He won a state championship at 120, or maybe 113 a year ago. Nope, it was 106 as a member of the Custer Wildcats.
And I would say arguably probably the best wrestler in the state, pound for pound.
I was just going to say that because I know Coach Noyes said the same thing when Stevens came to Pierre in the East-West duels. I mean, you're talking about all of these undefeated wrestlers in South Dakota. Reagan Bolweg, Quincy Hoverson. There's so many good wrestlers, but this guy,
he is
technically and quick. The thing that just never ceases to amaze me with Logan Graff is his quickness.
Yeah, he is incredibly quick and just precise. Everything he does is very calculated, and he almost does things at will. I mean, it's just nobody really has much for him.
Every time he tries something, he's able to dance away, spin around. First period goes, though, and Nate Williams, like brother Noah, wrestling pretty well, keeping things in a manageable state. Graff will break out, though, in a 3-0 lead to start the second period.
That was a great first period. 2-0. I think you got to be happy with that.
Now Graff, who got one takedown early in the first, gets another one here in the second. Already looking to see maybe if he shouldn't let him loose, but
I think we're going to see quite a bit of this. Hopefully we can just kind of weather a storm here for a little bit. But
escape. Now another takedown. Williams trailing 7-1, now 7-2. Another one. Here comes Graff again. And now you see poetry in motion, is what you might call it here, if you just like wrestling. Could be hard to watch if you're a Pierre Governor fan, but here's Nate Williams at least taking a shot, forcing Graff out of bounds. They'll reset 9-3. Graff with the lead and 71 seconds to go in the second.
That was one of the fastest high seas I've ever seen.
Graff again. Back to work. Now major margin, 11-3 with a full minute to go yet in the second. Caution, or stalling once again. Second one already for Nate Williams. Now it's 12-3. Logan Graff with 2 pins and a major decision. He beat Connor Hansen of Watertown 14-2 in the semifinals earlier. Nate Williams lost his first match yesterday, won this morning, but then was beaten out by Truman Stoller of Madison 5-2. Talk about how many good wrestlers there are. I think Truman Stoller, really good wrestler, but yet here he was meeting Nate Williams in the second round wrestlebacks. Sometimes you get into the wrestlebacks and you think you can do some damage, but then somebody gets upset and then they come back and meet you in that wrestleback round, and deck is stacked against you a little bit. 15 seconds to go here, 12-3.
Sometimes that can work for you, sometimes it works against you. You know, back in the old, I shouldn't say the old days, but before we had the dual tournament, I mean, it was that so-called blood round. You end up losing that match, and then you got to come back within probably about 30, 35 minutes, you know, in attempting to kind of, again, weather a storm and get yourself back in that place. And if you don't get your mindset in the right place, I mean, there's been a lot of upsets that have happened in that round.
All right, so Logan Graff will go to the third period leading 12-3. Hands on the back here. Not really letting him up yet, although Williams is almost free. Nope. Yeah, now he is, and just like that, Graff comes right on top of him. And there he'll let him up again. Now 14-5. Now 16-5. It just goes that quickly for Logan Graff. They separate here. Graff actually lets him loose. Now 16-6. Logan Graff shifting his feet like Muhammad Ali. Nate Williams got thrown to the side. Graff comes down on top of him again. A 12-point advantage, 18-6. Williams trying to stay low as Graff has him loose again. Williams now out of bounds, so 18-7. And right now, Coach Calda, this is the weathering of the storm that you had mentioned. Even though there's a lot of time left and Graff will have to tie his shoe, but Graff is trading 2 for 1 each time. And again, if you're Nate Williams, yeah, you can understand how the math is going to work eventually, but the longer you can avoid those subsequent next takedowns, the more weathering you can do.
I mean, to be quite honest, you also look at a situation, you may get 5 points out of this instead of getting 6. And that 1 point, again, I mean, that could be an advantage coming down to the end here.
Well, Graff, he realizes quickly if he can't get him turned over, although he's thinking about doing some damage here, but if he can't get him turned over, then he's going to cut him loose again. Here he does again, 20-8 now, 12-point lead, Still going to take a few more of these 2-for-1 swaps if you're Logan Graff to get a technical fall. 35 seconds to go. Williams locked up again. Graff gets around him. There's another takedown, and there's another escape. So now 22-9. Stevens fans trying to get Logan Graff going here a little bit more. 25 seconds to go. Now a spin and a takedown again over to the side. For a moment, I thought Williams was on his back, but face down, and there is the technical fall. 24-9. Logan Graff, technician extraordinaire. 5 points for Stevens. That'll make it 31-18. The Raiders lead. We'll take a 30-second break, come back for 126 next. This is Governor Wrestling.
There's a reason they call it Champs Chicken. It knocks out the competition hands down. Right now, stop by Cowboy Country Stores in Pierre and Fort Pierre and pick up a 12-piece bucket of Champs Chicken for just $15.99. Cowboy Country Stores on Harrison and in Fort Pierre serve breakfast starting at 5 a.m. Right now, get 2 sausage, ham, or bacon breakfast sandwiches for just $5. Sausage, ham, or bacon. Convenience with a capital C. Cowboy Country Stores in Pierre and Fort Pierre.
Underway at 126 pounds, and Blake Judson wrestling for the Pierre Governors as he takes on Caleb Richter for Rapid City Stevens. They're locked up, and Richter actually looked like he was making the first move, but here comes Judson. He's got to get a hand free, but Judson trying to roll him over. There is a takedown, and seconds being counted on the near fall.
If he can get that left leg over, get himself teed up.
5 are good for Blake Judson. Judson right on top of Caleb Richter, looking for 6, and there it is. Blake Judson earlier punched his ticket into the state finals at 126 pounds. Now in 54 seconds, he gets a win by fall. 6 for the Governors, cuts it to a 7-point duel. 31-24. The shot in the arm that the Governors needed, and we're in to these final 3 matches that we talk about perhaps being a Governor advantage. We'll have a chance to do some math here real quickly, but let's introduce 132, Kaylor Heineman for the Governors. He'll take on Jacob McCormick. Blake Judson with the big win here. Now Heineman looking to do more damage against McCormick, who is a junior. He came into the weekend 23-14. Heineman has the first takedown 17 seconds into the match. So the Governors trailing by 7. If they can take care of business in these last 2 matches and make up 7 points that they trail right now, keep in mind we've already thought about the potential of a tie duel. Let's just imagine if it's 31-31, Stevens got dinged on a unsportsmanlike action here a little while ago in one of those earlier matches.
And I'm not sure where it falls into the whole kind of penalties and so on down the line, but I know Coach Lewis also got a flagrant on him for a question to call on the referee as well. So, but again, I'm not sure where all those things kind of fall into the whole situation.
So the Governors, all things considered, if they get a couple of major decisions, would be the best scenario for them. But right now, Heineman leading. Jacob McCormick, a couple of potentially dangerous situations here. Heineman trying for a hold. McCormick gets up on his feet, and officials trying to protect Heineman.
A pin and a win would be real nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Heineman comes around the left side, trying to work underneath. Now he comes back around the outside right. 45 seconds to go, first period. McCormick working his way to his feet again. And you might as well let him go. That's what Heineman does. 2-1. The escape to McCormick. Heineman looking to get back at it. He got an early takedown in this match here in this first period. See if he can get another one. Still plenty of time. 20 seconds to go. With that 2-1 lead. Heineman trying to reach through, but McCormick's got him by the back of the right thigh, and nothing doing yet, although Heineman starting to work in some leverage and some spin moves here. Runs out of time, though. No takedown. Kaylor Heineman steps up and over Jacob McCormick to come back to the middle. And it'll be Stevens down here to start the second period.
Kaler's got to get a little bit of momentum going here, get some movement going. I wouldn't wait a whole lot of time here on top if you can't get him turned. I think I'd be cutting him loose.
McCormick had an opportunity, but Hindman still stays above. Gets up, now puts a leg up, trips him back down. Bit of a toss there, but Hindman still in control, leading 2-1, and just doing some riding time right now. 1:35 to go, second period. Still looking on the big board here, and good matchup between Winter and Canton. Caleb Osborne wrestling Asen Rice. Asen Rice is a freshman who's undefeated, and it just seems like Canton, one of those teams, obviously, that continues to pull 8th graders and freshmen out of the wrestling room, and suddenly by season's end, they're undefeated. And that's what Asen Rice is doing for them right now. Hindman got that one shoulder tucked momentarily, but still nothing working yet.
Looking for a crossface cradle, but Stevens wrestler's doing a nice job of just taking his hand, not giving him anything.
So Hindman, as they're on their feet again, tries to trip him up, almost slipped, but he does get him back down to the mat. 35 seconds to go. And Hindman, I think you're seeing maybe a cradle locked up on the upper side. Sean Lewis getting excited about 3 feet away. 3 seconds good for 2 points for Kaler Hindman. 4-1. He's got the lead now as McCormick got back face down. Boy, Pierre crowd, if they can get something like that once again, if Hindman can finish this thing off, it's going to be exciting to hear them explode. Stalling call for the Stevens wrestler, Jacob McCormick, toward the end of the period. Now we'll go to the third, and Kaler Hindman will take to the down position. So he rode him out the whole second period, tacked on a couple of back points, and here he has a 4-1 lead with McCormick now up top. Mention him, 23-14 coming in. He is still alive in the third round wrestlebacks. Has a date with Brock Sparks tomorrow from Mitchell in his next matchup.
Boy, we don't have much time to be sitting down underneath. Kaler's got to get some motion here. I know he would like to get at least a major decision, if not a pin.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what the coaches are thinking when we go down on that, is that we got to get an escape, we got to get back on our feet, get takedowns.
Hindman is up. McCormick going to wrestle him back down, though, and as they come down out of bounds, it was Kaler Hindman who came out of the hold, and he comes right back on top of McCormick. So a 2-point reversal, now 6-1. Kaler Hindman, as he tries to get the left wing back around behind. Hindman looking for leverage. They're near the edge, pretty dangerous to being outside, and Hindman came back to his right, and he will be out of bounds. But a good flurry of activity here for Kaler Hindman with 54 seconds to go.
That's what makes Kaler so dangerous. He loves to flurry. He loves to be upside down, inside out, and a lot of times he finishes on top, just like he did here.
So 50 seconds to go. Now Hindman really needs to get McCormick turned over again. McCormick has had one stall on him. How about a cradle here? McCormick rocked out of it. I don't think. Well, he gets 2 back points, not 3. It is a 7-point advantage for Kaler Hindman.
It's over.
Gets another opportunity here.
Get the other leg over. Tee up on him.
Now seconds are being counted. There's your back points. It'll be a major. Kaler Hindman wants more. 20 seconds to go, third period. McCormick trying to push his face away to get him off of him. Up top, Hindman trying to put all his weight up top. McCormick trying to fight him off. 10 seconds now. It would be 11-1 at the very least. Hindman working again. The Governors think they have this. Dave Korneman says no, and the time runs out. But 3 back points for Kaler Hindman will give the Governors the 4 points on the board that'll put them within 3 at 31-28. The final score again, 11-1 for Kaylor Heineman, and that sets it up with 1 match to go for the junior Hayden Schaefer. If Pierre can win this one, in a match they expect to win, Quarter Doney isn't all that bad though. Rapid City Stevens here at 138 pounds. Doney made his way to the semifinals just as Hayden Schaefer did. They both lost their semifinal matches. Quarter Doney is a sophomore, 16-9 coming into the tournament weekend. Hayden Schaefer, 26-4. So again, 31-28 is our score. Stevens leads the duel on the Wagner Auto scoreboard. Pierre needs this win, no doubt about that. A decision would tie it up at 31-31. Just like Pierre tied Brandon Valley last night. Here comes Doney with a quick shot on the reset, though, after a standing stalemate was called. Doney with the surge, and he's got the first takedown here. On top of Schaefer, 2-0. Takes the lead. Schaefer lost to Cale Larson, Rapid City Central, defending champion. In the semifinals, Quarter Doney lost 8-1 to Bo Beavers of O'Gorman High. But he's had some pretty good matches. Beat Caden Krause of Millbank. He beat Sam Olson, the 3 seed from Madison, 11-1 this morning. So Quarter Doney himself having a pretty good day. And he's got a 2-0 start here on Hayden Schaefer down to the 32nd mark of period number 1. Schaefer got up on his knees, but he's wrestled back and out of bounds. Stevens fans just as much fired up as the Governors, but again, Governors need this one at least. And if it's a decision, we tie at 31, we go to criteria. If it's a major decision win for Hayden Schaefer, which obviously he's got work to do that, he gets up, gets out, 1 point escape, 15 seconds to go first period. Major decision would tack on 4 for the Governors, and they would win this duel outright in a state duel championship. 5 seconds. They'll size each other up to close out this first. Quick shot for Doney, though, and nothing doing. What's that, Coach?
Oh, just kind of looking at Schaefer's body language on his feet a little bit. You know, he's just reaching up, kind of getting on his toes, and just making sure that he keeps his hands down in front and elbows in and stuff like that, be able to block shots and take reshots himself.
Quarter Doney wants to stay up.
Not surprising there.
Second period underway. Schaefer in the middle, Doney dancing around the outside. A lot of hand checking here. Doney comes in low. Schaefer fends that off. Hayden trying to get a spin, but unable to do so yet. Boy, these guys are going right at each other here. Schaefer tries one over to the edge, and they'll be whistled out of bounds. Minute 36 left, second period. If anybody's wondering why we have a state dual tournament, you're looking at it right now. Championship on the line. Schaefer comes on the reach, looking for a leg, didn't get it. Now to the edge, Schaefer.
Keep the wrist tied up as you're coming out, there you go.
Back up top, and they'll split apart again. Hayden Schaefer, ever since he came back to the region last week, here's Doney with a takedown. I was just going to say Schaefer last weekend, and this weekend's been wrestling pretty well, but Quarter Doney really doing a good job on Hayden Schaefer so far in this second period, leading 4-1 with 45 seconds to go. Really crazy how this can come down to one match, and now the way things have changed, it's a 138-pounder who is trying to make all the difference in the world, trying to be the anchor man. Out of bounds again, 4-1 will reset. Schaefer is underneath. 25 seconds left, still a lot of time, but you'd like to see a little more offense here for Hayden Schaefer if you're wearing green tonight. 15 seconds to go off of the reset. Donnie working just fine up top. Schaefer trying to crawl away, not happening. Final seconds will finish this third period, and Donnie will take a 4-1 lead. Schaefer will be up. Pierre fans coming to their feet. Stevens fans coming to their feet. 2 minutes left in the state dual championship. Schaefer up top. Donnie almost out. Schaefer still has him by the leg. Hayden gets him up. And they'll be out of bounds. No change. Schaefer still in control. I feel like Schaefer has been pretty good at going feet to back, right? Am I right?
He's got cradles in from everywhere he can about imagine. So there's a good situation there, but just able, guy had his wrist tied up, just couldn't quite swim the head.
Donnie trying to bridge. Schaefer again, that long, lanky body here. He's got the cradle. Donnie in trouble. Schaefer has him on his back. A lot of time to go. Officials are looking. Officials are looking underneath. He's pinned.
Oh my.
And there it is! He's pinned! Schaefer does it! He got the cradle while Donnie was still on his feet. He brings him right on down in a time of 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Hayden Schaefer wins the state dual championship for the Pierre Governors.
That was outstanding. You talk about clutch. He knew exactly what he had to do, and he went out there and did it.
That long lankiness that he's always got kind of comes into his favor. What a match. What a win for the Pierre Governors. They defeat Rapid City Stevens. Coaches are exchanging real good pleasantries. Of course, Brian Mosier, the athletic director for the Governors down there, a former coach in the Rapid City Stevens system. But what do we say? 4 minutes, 39 seconds. The win by fall for Hayden Schaefer. The Governors on the final Wagner-Auto scoreboard defeat Rapid City Stevens by the score of 34-31. We'll take a 60-second timeout. We'll come back and recap it all as the Governors will bring some championship hardware home. Rapid City Stevens will settle for second place. Stevens has a lot more things coming maybe to their advantage in the dual or in the individual brackets tomorrow, but we'll talk more about that as well. Good stuff here. It's high school wrestling at its finest, and it's Governor Wrestling, your official voice of the Governors DRG Media Group, and 1060 KGFX. Back in 1 minute. Whew.
Envirotech makes life a little bit simpler. No matter what the circumstances, no matter what is handed to you, Envirotech has you covered. One call is all it takes to have easy setup, easy pickup, and easy payment. Call Envirotech at 224-4804 or use their website to pay your bill online at envirotechwaste.com. Use their mobile app, Waste Connect. Check their website or receive a robocall for collection schedule changes due to weather or holidays. Envirotech has you covered.
This Governor Sports Moment is being brought to you by the independent insurance team at Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin were members of 4 Pierre Governor basketball teams, and they played in more varsity games than any other Governor player in history. They capped off their careers by leading Pierre to its 4th state basketball championship in 2013 and left Pierre as the leading and second leading scorers and rebounders in school history. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin, 2 of Pierre's finest. This Governor Sports Moment has been brought to you by Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre.
Back in Rapid City as the Governors getting their pictures taken with some first place championship hardware. The winners of the state dual championship, and it comes down to that last match where Hayden Schaefer pins Donnie, coming back from a 4-1 deficit, but that third period with Schaefer on the top got the cradle locked up while Donnie was on his feet. Then he gets him down on the mat, and a 6-point advance for the Governors in your final score, 34-31. Here's how it went. Tyson Johnson at 145 pounds wrestled first. He defeated Brian Rosales 6-0, and the Governors took a 3-0 lead, but the advantage went to Rapid City Stevens in the next 3 bouts as Riley Benson gets a major decision win over Trey Lewis, wrestling at 152, 13-3 the final in that. That gave Stevens their first lead at 4-3, and they held the lead up until that last match. As a matter of fact, Tyler Voorhees 7-3 the decision over Deegan Huska, made it 7-3 on the duel as well. And then Tanner Van Scoy comes up with a big pin for the Raiders. Van Scoy, who is not placing in the individual tournament, gets a big win over Jaden Wiebe in 1 minute and 19 seconds. That gave the Raiders a 13-3 advantage. Then Gavin Stotts comes back, could only get a decision in a high-scoring bout, 13-8 over Jaden Alexander. Put the Governors back within 7 at 13-6, but Ryan Brink of Stevens takes that right back and with a 5-3 win over Jacob Larson. Good job by Larson to keep that one in a manageable state. 16-6 the score at that point. Then Reagan Bolweg comes up with the first of 2 big pins in a row for the Governors, which obviously they needed. Bolweg pins Eli Hewitt at 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Then Preston Taylor 3 minutes and 42 seconds over Colton Lowen. 12 points advance there in those 2 matches for the Governors. They take the lead at 18-16. I take that back. Yes, Stevens did relinquish the lead, but they got it right back as Evan Ekholm gets a win by fall at 106 pounds over Lincoln Schoenhardt. Stevens led 22-18. Then Jack Schoenhardt, a major decision over Noah Williams, 26-18. And then a technical fall for Logan Graff over Nate Williams, 31-18 with 5 to Stevens there. And we figured that the Governors at the time might be favored in the last 3 matches, and they came out and did what they needed to do. Blake Judson, I think I do that once every year. Blake Judson, 54 seconds. We are a country music station, just so you know. 31-24. The Governors pulled back within 7 points as Blake Judson had a 54-second win by fall. Then Kaylor Heinman with an 11-1 major decision over Jacob McCormick. Governors within 3 at 31-28. And that last one, we'll remember that one for a while. Hayden Schaefer, 4:39, a win by fall. The Governors win this thing 34-31 with that pin over Quarter Doney. Dual wrestling. Who needs the individual brackets, huh?
Exciting, no doubt.
So, Hayden Schaefer, you said it, Coach Noyes. I mean, this is a guy who's been around the program for a while. He knows the situation, and even though he's down 4-1, I think he probably kind of liked where he was sitting on top in that to start that 3rd period.
Well, he definitely wanted his shot. I mean, the entire place knew that he was going to run a cradle, and that's what's cool. When everybody knows what you're going to do before you do it, and you're good enough to accomplish it anyway. Yeah, he certainly didn't want to work from behind, but he knew what he had to do, and he knew. I mean, you think about when he stood up the first time and he picked a single leg up and walked him out of bounds just to maintain his position on top. If he'd have let him go, they'd have been back on the feet again. Yep. So just little things are pretty important.
The science. We'll go to the science again, huh?
Yep, figure it out.
So just outstanding spirit here for the Pierre Governors here tonight. And, for those of us that have been around this program, even from a spectator standpoint like myself, but Coach Noyes and I grow up in the school system, and you bleed green your whole life, right, Coach? And,
absolutely.
You're involved in the school system. I'm 18 years covering, high school sports, and this is one of the most exciting things I've ever seen covering Pierre Governor sports.
Yeah, as a Pierre guy, there's nothing better than seeing a Pierre kid win a match, and to see them celebrate with their families, with the fans, with their coaches. It's a very special time for our Governor wrestlers.
All right, so they can celebrate this for a little while tonight. There's more business to be taken care of tomorrow. The Governors placing 9. They've got 3 in the finals, and we'll kind of look ahead to what's going on with that. But let's, again, not lose sight of what the Pierre girls got to do. I mean, the first ever state girls tournament action, and the Governor girls got 5 wins in the first round. They punched 3 tickets to the state championships, and help me out, Gianna Stanglin and Hattie Baldwin and Sierra McFarlane. will be wrestling for state championships. Obviously smaller brackets tomorrow, but they can put their stamp on history in South Dakota high school wrestling lore as well if you come up with one more big one. The Governors have a couple of other girls who will be still alive for placing matches as well. So it's just a lot of good things going on here in Rapid City. Obviously, we have to take care of an order of business. It's the naming of tonight's player of the game, the outstanding wrestler, and there are some choices. There might be one that's a little more obvious than others, and we'll hear that after Bauman Lumber tells us more. This is the Bauman Lumber player of the game coming up in Governor Wrestling.
When you need building supplies, there's no need to go anywhere except Bauman Lumber in Fort Pierre. Bauman Lumber is locally owned and offers quality products, expert advice, free estimates, and free local delivery for large or small projects. Whether it's a home improvement project, remodel job, or all new construction, they even welcome special orders. Quality building material and affordable prices for residential or commercial products can be found at Bauman Lumber, 1223 Sale Barn Road in Fort Pierre, or call 223-9762.
Bauman Lumber player of the game with candidates. There were 3 pins tonight from Reagan Bullweg, Preston Taylor before, and Blake Judson as well to help the Governors set up this come-from-behind effort, but there were big wins for Tyson Johnson, Gavin Stotts as well. The Governors, in fact, only win 6 matches out of 14 weight classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or did we go 7? Yeah, it was 7 and 7. My bad, but Pierre with the 3-point victory, 34-31. No doubt about it, though. The anchor man tonight is Hayden Schaefer. The win by fall gives the Governors the state title. The junior is tonight's Bauman Lumber player of the game. We'll get him a T-shirt noting his accomplishments, and, I think maybe the Governors will get some state championship T-shirts made up for everybody, and we might have to get in on that action as well. So your player of the game, Hayden Schaefer, the outstanding wrestler of the night, but again, guys, you can't... it's like a high school, or it's like a standout running back thanking his offensive line for all the accolades. Hayden Schaefer doesn't even get this chance if everybody else who gets, their results respectively, if they're not doing their job, then that last match is inconsequential.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about this part of it is that you're not looking at the individual side of it. You're looking at it as a total team. You're looking at a kid like Trey Lewis stepping in the lineup as a JV wrestler. You're looking at the matches last night. Even though maybe some didn't have the matches they wanted tonight, it was still a team effort from Mitchell to Brandon Valley to what they did tonight, and that's what's just the fun aspect about this.
So again, Hayden Schaefer, your player of the game, brought to you by Bauman Lumber in Fort Pierre. A couple of players of the games from last night, and in both duels, the Governors defeat Mitchell 38-19. They defeated Brandon Valley with the help of Criteria, and a tie duel 34-34 to get into this championship match. Rapid City Stevens loses their 4th duel of the year, 2 of those to the Pierre Governors. And the Governors are the state dual champions, but Rapid City Stevens will do more battles against Brandon Valley and Pierre and Watertown to try to become a 3-time repeat champion in the state team tournament. More thoughts? Any more thoughts before we let you go here, Coach Noyes?
Well, I was just thinking, reflecting on the duel and how it kind of started out. It just seemed kind of mundane a little bit. It was hard. It was like people were still trying to get into the duel versus the individual stuff, and you could tell some of the kids just weren't quite feeling it. They want to get fast forward to tomorrow. They want to get into the placement rounds, and it was kind of a slow start, but it did not end that way.
And still, I think mentally, if the Governors, what business they have left to do tomorrow, I still think that what happened here tonight is all the motivation that they need to do what they'll have to do tomorrow to get the best opportunity. I don't know that the Governors can win the state team title, but obviously mathematically they can. But Stevens and Brandon Valley are still very strong. Watertown is right there with them. But motivation is big in this sport, obviously.
Yeah, we talked about that. The whole weekend, it's ups and downs, and again, we kind of talked about on yesterday morning on how maybe the first round didn't quite go how we needed it to, or maybe wanted it to. But then you throw in the duels, and all of a sudden you pick up some momentum going against Mitchell, and you pick up some momentum going against Brandon Valley, and then that carries into today, and you throw a bunch of guys into the semifinals, and those things just keep building and keep adding up and keep adding up.
So again, Pierre beating Rapid City Stevens. Harrisburg takes third place as Brandon Valley decided to rest a bunch of people here tonight, and Harrisburg wins that one 68-6. In the Class B ranks, third place goes to Redfield area. Get back to that bracket here. I had it. Tried to refresh it. I think it was Redfield area defeating Kimball, White Lake, Platte, Geddes, and then winner in Canton. I still don't have an official result on the final score of that duel, but winner in Canton, I kind of expect that one to be a close one, and they're going to battle a lot tomorrow as well. Tomorrow night we give you full coverage of all of the championship matches. I'll be with the coaches once again. 14 state championship matches here in the Class A Ice Arena, and we'll do our best to keep tabs on the 14 championship matches in Class B. Phillip area, Winter area going to be well represented, as well as Woolsey, Wessington, and some other teams from around the area. So a lot of stuff coming up with a lot of reports throughout the day yet tomorrow. That begins once again at 11 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Mountain. That's when we will begin our reports. On our coverage of high school sports on KGFX, we remind you on behalf of the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety to slow down, stay alert, drive for the conditions, and don't veer for deer. Reminder from the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety. Our thanks to Heather Williams back in studio for running this show, and maybe we'll see her again tomorrow night. But boy, what a night for the Pierre Governors, the state dual team champions, a 34-31 win over the Rapid City Stevens Raiders. That's your final Wagner Auto scoreboard with BS starting up tomorrow at Wagner Auto Company in Pierre. Until we speak with you again tomorrow, thanks for joining us. The Governors are state dual champions, hoping for bigger and better things tomorrow as well. The state wrestling tournament is home right here on 1060 KGFX, live streaming, drgnews.com. Good Friday evening, everybody.